Hello everyone, welcome back to TV Channel IT. In today's video, we are doing a continuation of our assessment task 1, computer programming level 4. In our previous video, we have done the first part, which is our subtask 1, whereby we provided a small business, a name of a small business in our area, and we provided a business description given two critical business processes in the operation of the business, and we also created 3 class diagrams. Now we are doing the second part of our assignment, which is subtask 2. We will code and develop our system or our program. So without wasting any time, let's jump into it. First of all, there is a difference between a class diagram and a class. So a class diagram is what we've done in our previous video. If you didn't watch that video, please do watch that video before you watch this one, for this one is a continuation of that one. So a class diagram is a visual representation of how the class will look like. For example, the class name will be product, and its attributes will be these 3 attributes, and its method will be this. So this is how the class will look like. It is a class diagram or a UML class diagram. Now, an actual class, it is a code that is written for an object and which specifies its attribute and functionalities. So that is the difference between the two. So in today's video, we are going to create 3 classes. So we'll open our Visual Studio. Then we will name our project appropriately. Spaza shop. So the purpose of the subtask 2 is to create a software project. We will name it appropriately. We've already done that. We'll develop and design class diagrams into code in the object. So this is how to create a class in the Visual Basics. We go to project, add class. Then we will name our class appropriately. The first class that we are going to do will be the product class that is displayed on the top right corner of your screen right now. So this is the default naming system, CLS for class, CLS product. So this is how you know that this is a class, this is a file for a class. CLS product, and add. Our class is created. Now we will create attributes for our class. Actually, we are converting what you see on the top right corner of the screen into a class code. So if you remember, we said that if the sign is negative, it means that the attribute is a private, or the property is a private property. And if it's positive, it means that the property is public. So this is what we are doing, but we are doing that in a code. So private name as a string. The price is public, so we'll say public price as decimal. And lastly, we'll say private product code is decimal. So if you notice, this is exactly the same thing that is on your top right corner of the screen. This is the same thing. Private name as a string is also in our class diagram. Private product name as a string, public price as decimal, product code as integer. So this is how we do a class diagram. These are our attributes. You can just write a comment here. Attributes. If you want to, it is not compulsory. So in order for the private attributes, these two attributes to be accessed by other classes, we will have to create our get and set methods. So if we are going to do both get and set, we'll just say public property, we write the name of our first property or attribute, that is name. Name as decimal. Then we hit enter. After that, what is it that we want with this name? We want it to be accessed using a get method and a set method. So we'll start by get. After typing get, we hit enter. Then this will be created for you, get and set. In the get area, we always type return. What is it that we want to return? We want to return the name. So you can just copy the name as it is and that underscore, copy. And remember that underscore is only for you to know that it's a private attribute. We want to retain the name. Then we go to our set. Let me just put a space here. So this is our get, this is our set, but they are all under the public property name. So that this public property name has two functions, a get function and a set function. So let's go to our set. We copy the name and paste it here. Name is equal to value. So VP has already done this part for you. That means it will set whatever that is the value as a decimal, and our part is to say the attribute that you have created, we want it to be equal to the value. So whatever that is a value is equal to our name. We will see that when we do when we code our Windows form. We will also do the same thing for our product code. Remember, we will not do that for our price because it is public. It can be accessed by any class in this project. So we don't need to do a set and get method for the price, but we can do for the product code, for it is private. So also say public property. We always say public property. Then the name of our method will be product code as decimal. No, product code as integer. Remember, this product code is a procedure or is a method. It is not the same as this product code. This one has an underscore and it does not have brackets. So this one does not have underscore because it is a property, but a property that is created only to access this one. So make sure you follow that. Same as this name. This name has brackets because it is a procedure, and this one is an attribute. So we hit enter. After hitting enter, we say get. After get, we hit enter again, and we type return. What is it that we want to return? Now this is where we come to copy our attribute. Copy and paste it here. We want to return our attribute, and we go to set, and you also say, you also paste that attribute here is equal to value, is equal to value. So that is it for this class. We have created a code for our product class. This is the name of the class, this is the attributes as in the diagrams, and these are the methods that we have done in our diagram. So this is how to do a class diagram. So yeah, we are done with the first class. The instruction says that it is advisable to create each class into its own file. So if we are done to create this one, we can just say object again and add class to create another class. And we name another class. Our second class will be the payment class, CLS payment. Our second class is created. Ours is to just convert what we see on the right screen, on the right side of the screen, to a code. So it has a negative sign, so it's a private. So private underscore cache as decimal. Private underscore total as decimal. Now that we've created our attributes, we go to create our, we are now going to create our methods. So the first one will be public. We always say public property. The name of our property will be cache is decimal. Hit enter, then we say get and enter again. In the get section, we always type return. Return, what is it that we want to return? It's this attribute. So we copy and we paste. We are done for our get section. Now we are going to go to our set. We also paste cache is equal to value. So we are done for our cache attribute. We do another method, public property total always type get and hit enter, and always type return. What is it that we want to return? It's underscore total, underscore total. Then we go to our set section. The paste underscore total is equal to value. We done for our total. We now go to do change. Public property change. Yes. Enter. Get. Enter. Always return. Return what? Underscore change. Then we go to our set. Underscore change is equal to, always equal to value. So this is it for our attributes. These are the methods to access our attributes. If you see for the payment class, we have another method which is calculate change. So for this method, so it is a function. We will say public function What is the name of our function? It's calculate change as this one. Hit enter. Now we will say change, which is the attribute that we know. Change is equal to cash minus total. Minus underscore total. So this is a function for calculating a change, or this is a method for calculating change. So change is equal to the cash that a customer will pay minus the total that the product or the items cost in order for us to get our change. Then after we have done that, you must always remember that a public function always returns a value, same as a get property always return a value. So this is very important. You must always remember that if you are creating a public function, you must always return a value. That is why we have this hint here. It says function calculate change doesn't return a value on all code parts. So you are missing a return statement. So even during your exams, you must remember this one. The public function always returns a value. What is it that it returns? Whatever that we were calculating in this function, we must return it. In our case, we were calculating a change, so you must return change. So that is it for your class payment. So let us create our last class. We go to project, add class, CLS transaction, because we're doing a transaction class. Transaction. So we are just repeating the same process. Private. we are done creating our attributes. Let us go to our methods. If you guys notice on our class diagram, this one has a constructor, because they said our classes must have a constructor. So we also have our constructor in our class diagram. So how to do a default constructor? This is known as a default constructor. How to do a default constructor in a class code? We say public sub. We always say sub in a default constructor. Public sub new. Public sub new. What is a constructor for? A constructor is just for setting default values or for whatever attributes that you have. So, like, for example, our default ID will be equal to 0, and our default product will be equal to nothing, and our default total amount will be also equal to 0. So a default constructor is for setting default values in our program. So if someone just opened our program and didn't put any transaction ID, any product name, any amount, our default values will be 0, nothing, and 0. So this is what they wanted when they say you must create a constructor. So this is a constructor, also known as a default constructor. Let us proceed to our methods. We say public property, public property as usual, transaction ID, as integer. Then we say get, enter, always return. What is it that you are returning? It's the transaction ID. Copy and paste it here. You can just paste it or you can just type it, but you make sure you type it exactly as it is. Transaction ID. And in our set section, we say transaction ID is equal to value. Transaction ID is equal to value. Now we are done for our transaction ID. Let's create the property for private. Remember, for date is a public attribute, so we do not create accessors for it. Public property product. Now let's create our method for total amount. Get return. What are we returning? We are returning total amount. We are returning total amount. Then we go to our set total amount is equal to value. So now we are done with our third class. This is our class number 3, our transaction class. Let's go back to the criteria. Now we are done with our class diagrams. Sorry, we are done with our classes. The criteria says that we must create a code or a main module that implements the classes and a suitable user interface to represent the program functionality, handle and convert input appropriately, and format output accordingly. Apply validation and defensive programming techniques. Include useful comments in your code. So we are now going to create our user interface so that we may code our program based on our classes. So we need labels. We need a label. We can just type payment system. We can increase the font to 16, maybe 20. So this is our payment system. We need a group box. For our transaction, and we'll need our another group box for product information. So we can say transaction product information. Then in our transaction we'll need label. We'll need a label. One, two. We'll need 3 labels. And also we'll need a date time picker next to this one. We will need a text box next to this one, and we'll need another text box here. So this one is date, this one is transaction ID, this one is total, this one is total amount. Then we can choose another label. Then we will need checkboxes. Let's do about 8 checkboxes just for 8 checkboxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 3, 6, 7, 8. can just take this one here. 8. Press the fold. So the name of our, we'll give it a text. You can just say milk. Remember guys, this is for demonstration. Milk, bread, sugar, salt, oil, meat, tomato, onion. So this is just for demonstration. You can do as many products you want here, and also you can do whatever product you want to do. Now let us name our checkboxes. CHK milk, CHK oil, we should name our text boxes TXT transaction, TXT transaction ID, TXT total amount. And we can also use a list box. We can use a list box to display our products. We can use a list box. We can just name our list box as LST I can just say LST display. Then we can say edit items. We can say APC grocery store. You can just give it spaces here so that it goes at the center. Okay, I think it's fine guys. Now what we want to do is to search for a button. You can create a button and we can call our button calculate total. Can call our button calculate total. Then the first thing we must do, you can right click on the form and view code. So the first thing we must do is to instantiate our objects of the classes. So to instantiate the objects of the classes, it is like declaring global variables. So we say dim product as new CLS product. Remember, this is our class. So this is how to instantiate objects of the classes, and you can say dim transaction as new CLS transaction, dim payment as new CLS payment. So what we've done here, we've instantiated our objects, our object of our classes. Basically is to make these classes that we have created. We want the payment class to now communicate with our form 1, which is our interface. So we want our classes to communicate with our interfaces through this form 1 code. The next thing we do is to create a sub procedure. So I'll say public sub grocery items, then enter. And now we will have to declare the items that we are going to use. So since we are using checkboxes, we will have to declare our items. So we can just say dim we can say dim deck, that is for decimal, milk as decimal. Remember, we're just giving variables for what we are going to use, because this will be used in the calculations whenever someone buys your product. So that is why we're using a decimal. That is why we're not using a string. So instead of a string, we're using a decimal, because we are regarding our milk as a price. Dim deck red. As decimal. Dim deck sugar. So we'll basically do all these checkboxes. We're going to give variables for all of these checkboxes. We will now use our if statements for our checkboxes. So if you remember, we have these checkboxes and we have named them appropriately. This is CHK milk, that is checkbox bread, checkbox sugar, checkbox salt, and so on. So we will now proceed to do our if statements with these checkboxes. If checkbox milk CHK milk dot checked, then what is it that we want? Remember, we have created we have instantiated an object from a class. So we're going to use that object, product dot, let's say we want product code is equal to, we can just say, let's say the product code will be M for milk 01. Let's say this is a product code. And what else that we want? We want the name of of the product. Or we can just, oh, this is a string, this is supposed to be a string, so we must have inverted double quotes. Now we want the name of the product. We'll say product dot product name. This will be equal to, then put your double quotes. This will be this will be milk. Now we want the price, so we come here to these variables to use it for the price. So we say deck milk is equal to, then you can just name your price. Let's say our milk will be 20 rands. So this is our milk. So we have successfully coded our first checkbox. So whenever a user selects this checkbox, on their receipt, this is what will appear: the name of the milk, the product code, and the price. Now for us to display that, we'll say LST. Remember our list box. This is our list box. This is the one we're going to use for display. So we'll say LST dot items dot add. Then we put brackets. What is it that will be inside? We want to display the code. Or the, let's say, product code. What else do we want to display? Say and let's just leave some space. VB tab. This is for spacing. VB tab. Product dot product code. And here you can just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just to make it fancy. And also on our list box, we want to list dot items dot add. Just say item. Sorry, let us not forget our double quotes. Item. Okay, so item, then press end. VB tab for our spacing. And product name, because the item will be the name of the product. You can do the same for the price. You can say price. Say end. VB tab. And remember, VB tab is for spacing, so we need double spaces. And just say VB tab again. And deck milk. And we want to display our 20 rands as currency, so we need that R here. So to do that, we can say dot to string and open another brackets, another curly, another double quotes, and you can just type C for currency. So we have successfully finished our first checkbox. And now we will also do the same for all the checkboxes, for bread, for sugar, for salt, for oil, for milk, for tomato, and for onion. So we are going to do the same thing. I will do this one last time, and then I will just type the code. So the second one is bread. So we say if chk bread dot checked. This means if it is checked, dot checked is then what do we want? We want product. We want product dot code. We want product dot code to be equal to double quotes B for bread, and then 2 for product number 2. Then again we want product dot product name is equal to, what is the name of our product? It's bread. It's bread. And we want the price, product dot price is equal to let's say our bread it's 10 rands. Then we now want to display our bread on the list box. And if you can notice, this is the same thing, just that it's different product dot items dot bread. So I'll just copy, since it's the same thing. So I want to put product code copy, and we return and product dot product code. And I also want this line, so I will copy and paste it here. Copy and paste it. Then we'll do the same for this line. We'll copy and paste it. So this time around, I don't want milk, I want bread. Then you can do this for all of your other products. So what you can do, you can just copy the bread, copy and paste it under the end if. Then you can just change from bread, sugar, to sugar, and you can just put an and if this, and from bread to sugar, and from bread to sugar, and maybe sugar it's let's say it's 30 rands. It's 30 rands. And then we come to the price and say take sugar, copy the sugar, and do the same for salt. Okay, let's say product number 3, product number 4, and also say SA for salt, take salt, Now we are done for the checkboxes. Now what we can do, we can calculate the total amount. Remember, if the user wants milk, let's say milk, bread, and tomato, we have to calculate that amount to be a total amount. Okay, guys. I think we've just made a mistake. We have dark milk here, so even here we're supposed to have dark bread. So it's my bad. Dark bread, dark milk, dark bread. Then remove this and say dark sugar, dark salt, dark oil, dark meat, dark tomato, dark onion. So now it's fine. Now we say product dot price is equal to all of those prices. Dark milk plus dark bread, dark sorry, dark meat, dark oil. Now these are our calculations. Dark tomato. So remember, we have a text box here. We have a text box which says total amount. Now the name of the text box is txt total amount. So we made that text box to display the amount. Txt total amount dot text is equal to product dot price. So it's equal to product dot price, and this is just what we've calculated. Okay, dot product dot price, and now let's display dot items dot add. We want to display our total amount, so let's say total amount. You can just say total amount and VB tab and product dot price. Now we have done our calculations. So we can just create another sub procedure. Public sub insert. Let's call it insert. And what is it that we want to insert? We're going to insert the transaction ID. And remember, guys, they said that we must use data validation. So we'll say if if txt transaction ID dot text is equal to, if it is equal to nothing, then message box dot show. Just say please insert transaction ID, and also we want to focus our text box dot focus. Else enter transaction ID, or sorry, else transaction dot transaction ID is equal to convert to integer So we have done creating our sub procedures as we were required. Now, if you notice, there is nothing that connects these sub procedures, or there's nothing that will invoke the sub procedures. In order for this code to execute, we'll need to call our procedures in our button, that is our calculate total. So double click calculate total. So we'll call our sub procedures. So the first sub procedure was, the name of it was grocery items. So we just say grocery items, grocery items, and we'll just say insert. This is the second procedure that we have, and we are now successfully called our procedures. Now we also want we need a text box to display the payment and the cash. Remember, we have a payment class, and we have a transaction class, and also a product class. So this represents a transaction class, and this represents a payment class, sorry, a product class. We will need some text boxes to represent our payment class. So what we can say, we can set for a label, say label, then text boxes 1, 2, 3. You can say cash, then you can say total product, then you can say change. Now we can name our text boxes. Go to name, txt cash, Now that we have our inputs for the cache, for the payment class, we can now proceed to display and say payment dot cache is equal to let's convert to decimal, equal to C deck for converting to decimal, txt cache dot text. Another one will be payment dot total is equal to C decimal txt total amount. Then you can say txt or txt total amount dot text. Then you can now say txt total payment dot text is equal to payment dot calculate change. If you remember, in this payment class we have this function called calculate change. So this is the function that we are using to display our calculated change. Then you can just say txt change dot text is equal to payment dot change. And now we will display. Let's display the items. Remember, whatever we are calculating, we want to display. We want the output of what we have calculated. So we'll say cache. You can just to make it to look good. VB payment cache, and we want to display our cache into a currency, that is into rands. Dot to string C. We'll do the same for the change. Then VB tab payment change dot to string. Let us now try to run our project. So this is our project. You can type, let's say the transaction ID was 2334, and I want to purchase some milk, and I have 30 rands. Then I want to calculate. We have an error. It says conversion from string to type integer is not valid. Okay, so this is normal when we do a project, because we are human beings. So we have just to know what is the problem. Our problem is in this code. So we have made some mistake because in the product class we wanted our product code to be a decimal. So our product code is a decimal, and in the property is an integer. So we can just change this decimal to integer. And also we know that this is not an integer, this is a string because it contains numerical values. So we can change the product code to be a string. So sorry, to be an integer. So we can just say product code. We can just say 1, and we will have to change for all of these. Just say 2. Just say 1. Oh, sorry. Just say 3. Any number that you want, you can say 100, because this is the system of your choice. So you can choose the product codes for your products. If it's integers, you only have to use numbers only. So we can just say this is 500, and we can just say this is say 12, whatever you want to say, as long as it's integers. 50. Now we can run our project again. Total. Then we have 50 rands on our side, and we want milk. Let's calculate. Also, we have another error, which is normal. We just stop our project and go to the product class. So we said here our name must be a string, which is correct, but when we did accessor for the name, we mistakenly say decimal. So we're supposed to have string here. We're supposed to have string. And let's try to run our program again. This is transaction number 122. I want milk, and I have 50 rands. So if I calculate, we are successfully running. The total product is 50 rands. The total is 30 rand, and the price of the product is it's 20 rands. So my cash is 50 rand and my change is 30 rands. But here in total product we're supposed to have 20 rands. So we can just change that here, because we have 50 rands and we know that milk is 20 rands. We're supposed to have 20 rands here, and our change is fine. So we can just go to text total P. So total P is equal to payment.calculate change. So here is our error. We are supposed to have here payment.change. Payment.change is equal to payment.calculate change. Yes, and so and then you're supposed to have txt total product dot text is equal to payment dot product. Then if we run our program again, transaction number 34, you want milk, we have 100 rands. Now let's calculate. Yes, the total product is 20 rands and our change is 80 rands. Then this is the same as in our receipt. Now what we can do, we see that when we calculate our items, let's say number 56, and we want oil and bread, then we have let's say 200 rands. When we calculate in our invoice or in our receipt, we do not have the transaction ID. We're supposed to have the transaction ID so that we know that this transaction was transaction number this, and also we are supposed to have the date. on our receipt. Remember, this is the system. These inputs are all the system, and this is the receipt that will be printed into the, for the customer. So what you can do, you can go in the insert procedure. Just look for the insert procedure. This is our procedure. Insert. We can just under this end if we can just say lst display dot items dot add inside the double quotes. Inside the double quotes, you can just put some spaces there. Then what you can do, you can just say end. Outside, you can just say end, date, date time picker, 1 dot text. Where is our date time picker? This is our date time picker. Date time picker 1 dot text. So now let's see if we start our program. 45. I have 50 runs. I want some milk. Calculate. Now this is the date, Friday 11th April 2025. So, but the date is not, the date maybe supposed to be on the top, or but not between the product details. So what you can do, you can copy this, you can cut it and put it in the grocery items procedure. You can put it here. So we can just put some more spaces and we can start our program. So let's say this is transaction number 20 and someone wanted oil and milk and they had 100 rands. Then if we calculate, so this is our date on the Friday 11th April, milk and oil was purchased and the total number of items was 80 rand and the cash was 100, so the change is 20 rand. So this is all they wanted from your practical. So another thing that we can do, we can copy this code and paste it underneath this one, and we can change this to transaction ID, txt transaction ID dot text. Then we can type here transaction. You can type transaction number. You can type transaction number. Then you can run our program. So if our transaction was number 50 and we bought some bread and we had 40 rands, if we calculate, we now have the date of the transaction and the number of the transaction, and also the product details and prices. So now our receipt is complete. So you can just close. So this is the other thing that they needed in our practical. They wanted exceptions, and they wanted user input validated, and message boxes, and also the comments in the source code. They wanted the comments to be clear and useful, and also to be they wanted to be necessary comments. So what you can just do from here, you can just say you are commenting right now. Okay, you can just say instantiation here, and here you can just say sub procedures. In here you can just say if statements. And here you can just say calculations. Here you can just say data validation. Then you go to your party and say calling of sub procedures. So these are your useful comments, and you can also do the exception throw on your classes. Let's just go to the transaction class. In the section of the transaction ID, in the set section, what you can do, because we want the full marks of this one, we just 100% guys. So you can just say try and hit enter. So what else you do is you say you're trying to do validation through the exception throw method. So you say try if value is less or equal to 0, and then enter, then throw, and throw argument exception. You can just type whatever you want to type here. Please enter a valid transaction ID. Then what else you can do? Hit enter and say else, and hit enter again. Else you take this one, you cut this one and put it here between this else and then if. Then in this catch ex, we say message box.show ex dot message. This is what they wanted, so you'll get marks for this. But if you didn't do this, you will just lose 1 mark. But for your, it is always a good practice to do this, because they might need it in the exams. So it's better off if you do it, and you can then go to the payment class and do the same. In the set section, you say try and hit enter if value is less or equal to 0, then throw argument exception. Please enter price. Also please enter a price. Then hit enter. Throw new. You're supposed to have new. Throw new argument exception. Then say else, and we hit enter. We take our value and cut it and put it here. Then here we say message dot show message. So this is it. You have thrown exceptions, you have done message boxes, and even here you have done your comments, and they are clear and formatted very well. So this is it. If you can just test our project the last time, let's say this is transaction number 112. We want to buy all of the items that are available. Then let's say we have 500. Then if we hit enter, this is the name of the store, this is the date of the transaction, and this is the transaction number. These are the products. As you can see, we had 500 and our change is 190 because our total number of products, total amount was 310. So this is basically your practical task number 1. So please guys, subscribe and comment if you have questions. Comment on this comment section, and also indicate if you want a practical task 2 and your ISET and some other examples. Please just comment on the comment section. Thank you very much.